Nature has once again blessed us with baseball weather downtown Cincinnati. It's game 2 of 4, a little Central Division rivalry baseball. Cardinals and Reds straight ahead on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi again, everyone, with Chris Welsh, Jim Day. It's been a slow start to the season for the Reds. No getting around that, so you're looking for bright spots. And one of them lately, Chris, has been Jose Peraza.
Well, talk about slow starts. I mean, he got off to a horrendous start. He was down at the bottom of the order, and he was striking out. He wasn't making very hard contact. Then he gets put up in the number 2 slot. And all of a sudden, Jose Peraza starts hitting line drives all over the ballpark. This one to right field, hit one to left field last night. You know, when he's in the second slot, ahead of Joey Votto, 412 batting average, 3 doubles, sometimes moving a guy up in the order just has an effect of making him a better hitter because, you know what, if you hit high in the order, you are supposed to be a better hitter.
All right, let's talk pitching. This is a year of growth for the young pitchers in this Reds system, and one of them is Tyler Mahle. No different from most young players. It's going to be up and down. Last time out was a rough outing, but the first time out showed you signs of what Tyler Mahle could be.
Well, that was against the Cubs,
yeah.
And he caught that assignment the first game that the Cubs came in here, and he threw the ball extremely well that night. The last time out against the Pittsburgh Pirates, you know, I thought he had very good stuff, but he was hit like they knew it was coming. So let's keep a close eye on Mahle tonight to make sure may he be tipping pitches. We'll find out or not. But if he's on, he's got a good four-seam fastball, throws it up around the letters. His best other pitch is a slider. He uses that, and he's got strikeout stuff. It's a great matchup of young pitchers tonight.
For Mike Matheny and the Cardinals, they are very high on Luke Weaver.
Well, 24 years old. I asked somebody very close to the Cardinals yesterday when they came in town, who's your best player? And without even waiting for a moment, he said Luke Weaver. So that's really saying something. This young man gets a lot of strikeouts. He avoids walks. He avoids home runs. And right now, he's the best on his pitching staff.
All right. Don't look now, but it's Friday the 13th.
You would have to tell us that.
And when we come back, Shannon Ford will delve into that. It's the Reds and Cardinals coming up from Great American Ballpark on Friday the 13th.
only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili, feeling good, it's Skyline time. Game 2 of Reds versus Cards is happening today. Today is Friday the 13th, and I am Shannon Ford. Now with Friday the 13th comes many superstitions. We're gonna talk about those, but first, let's get to some of these numbers. If they speak for themselves, then the Reds have a great night ahead. Free from triskaidekaphobia, fear of the number 13, the Reds are 7-3 when playing on Friday the 13th since 2007. They are tied with the Rockies and Blue Jays for that. They won the last 3 meetings against the Cardinals on Friday the 13th, and they are 4-2 when playing on Friday, April 13th since 1979. The odds certainly look in favor of the Reds to win tonight, and we certainly hope they turn this around. Coming up, Chris and Jim will have lineups and first pitch.
His first outing, which came against the Cubs. Mike Matheny, the Reynoldsburg, Ohio product, will send out this starting lineup tonight. Brought to you by Nissan. Dexter Fowler will once again lead off. He'll be in right field. There you see Fowler. Tommy Pham batting second. Matt Carpenter. 3, 4, and 5 is Carpenter, Ozuna, and Jose Martinez. Yadier Molina back behind the plate after a home run last night. Paul DeYoung at shortstop. Colton Wong at second base, and on the mound and batting ninth is Luke Weaver. Chris Welsh, he works quickly. When he's on, he's painting corners and changing speeds.
But he's also working up in the zone. He's got a nice four-seam fastball. Average velocity overall for Tyler Mahle, but he's got above average backspin. And what that means, if you're sitting at home wondering, all right, well, what does backspin mean with a pitch? If you have a lot of backspin on your fastball, it doesn't sink as much. And those guys that are able to make the ball spin backwards more are more effective up in the zone. And that's where Mahle finds his sweet spot. Now, you flirt with fly balls. In this ballpark, you flirt with home runs, but he gets a lot of strikeouts up there. And I think this is a good matchup for Mahle because there are a lot of hitters in this Cardinal ball club that buy into the theory of trying to lift the ball, get the ball in the air, hit home runs like they did last night very well. Well, Mahle's fastball may be a little too tough to do that with. We'll see if he can control the Cardinals in that respect.
Let's check out the Ford defensive lineup for the Reds. First in the outfield, Duvall in left, Hamilton back in center field, Jesse Winker in right field tonight. In the infield, Cliff Pennington at third base, Peraza at shortstop, Scooter Gennett at second base, and at first base, Joey Votto returning to the starting lineup after getting a night off last night. A late announcement that just happened as we were giving you the lineups. Phillip Ervin is in right field. And we'll try to update you on why Jesse Winker is not there. This is a very, very late announcement, but there's Phillip Ervin. He is in right. 79-degree first pitch temperature here from Great American Ballpark as Fowler sends one into left field. Should be an easy play for Adam Duvall. One out. Oh, no explanation given of why Winker is not in right field. I hosted a season ticket luncheon today with Jesse Winker. Was one of the players, and everything seemed a-okay there. So try to follow up on that as the game goes on. Here's Tommy Pham. And most of these Cardinals had a big night at the plate last night, including Pham, 2 for 4, a couple of walks, and RBI, scored 2 runs. And overall, Pham hitting .277, 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. 0-2 pitch in the dirt. Battery of Mesoraco and Mahle tonight. Tucker Barnhart will get most of the starts for this Red squad. Spring training, Brian Price intimated it would be at least 5 days a week for Barnhart behind the plate.
Well, Barnhart just got beat up big time last night. And, you know, with all the walks that were in this ball game, as long as it was, there's Eugenio Suarez made a little grab off the ball that hit the net and then came down, and he's at the top step of the dugout kind of directing defensive traffic out there.
Strike 3 call. And a good start for Tyler Mahle. Suarez even given the thumbs up with that injured thumb.
I wonder if Pham was looking up in the zone, figuring that the scouting report on Tyler Mahle is he likes to run that fastball high in the zone. Well, this time he comes right downstairs, right at the bottom of the kneecaps. Good strike. And 2 up, 2 down. Gino likes it.
You have to watch how you clap. You can't clap with that thumb, that injured thumb. He was also at that luncheon today as Matt Carpenter looks at a first pitch strike. And he was in good spirits. Said the swelling has gone down. The thumb was really beat up and blue, but he's fortunate that the fracture was in the middle of his thumb and not at the base of his thumb. If it would have been at the base of his thumb, then you're talking about surgery. But per usual, he was still in a good mood and entertaining the season ticket holders. They had some very colorful answers today in a Q&A session. So nicely done. Suarez along with Winker. Cliff Pennington was there. And unfortunately, you know, the Q&A session, you've hosted those before.
Sure.
Chris, they turned it on me. The players, and Suarez stepped up and said, I have a question for Jim Day. And then they proceeded to just start ripping me for like 5 minutes.
That means they love you.
Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Mahle and a terrific start. A 1-2-3 first. Reds coming up. have in store for right-handed pitcher Luke Weaver after a terrific start to the game by Tyler Malley. Billy Hamilton will lead off. Lineup's brought to you by Nissan. Again, we mentioned a very late announcement that Jesse Winker was not in right field tonight. Originally in the starting lineup, and this is how they'll line them up now. Billy Hamilton will lead off, followed by Peraza, Votto, Jeanette, and Mesoraco. That stays the same. Adam Duvall will now hit behind Mesoraco. Philip Irvin in right field. Cliff Pennington batting 8th. Tyler Malley batting 9th. First pitch strike to Billy Hamilton. Calling balls and strikes behind the plate tonight is Angel Hernandez as we look at Luke Weaver's numbers.
The third different season that Luke Weaver's been in the major leagues, and he's only 24 years old. He came up very young at age 22, came up out of Memphis, their AAA ball club. Back in 2016 was 9-8 and scuffled a little bit. Last year, completely different. His first 11 starts were lights out, had an earned run average right around 2. And quickly became one of the best young pitchers in the league. They anticipate big things and hope for big things out of Weaver this year.
6'2", 180. Florida kid, 24 years of age.
I don't know if he's 6'2", but I can tell you
what he's listed at.
But that's what he's listed as. It's interesting. I was listening to the Cardinals pitching coach Mike Maddox talk a little bit about Weaver, and the one thing you're going to notice about him, watch how he pushes off with that right leg. He really drives. It reminds a lot of people of Tom Seaver in the way he pushes off, sometimes even dragging his knee.
Billy Hamilton draws another walk, and we have seen Billy Hamilton draw more walks. He drew one to lead off the game last night and ended up scoring. Billy 1 for 4 last night, a walk and those 2 runs, and we're going to talk about this as long as Yadier Molina's in this game. Here comes the matchup everyone loves to watch.
Wow, this is a little different matchup because the wild card is the pitcher, and Weaver has not yet given up a stolen base in the major leagues. 3 have tried, 3 have been thrown out.
Billy, a perfect 4 steals this season. Is yet to be thrown out. And Peraza, as we talked about in the open, turning up the wick, riding a modest 4-game winning streak, and there's a 1-hopper to the second baseman. Flip to second, not in time.
The momentary bobble out there by the Cardinals second baseman Colton Wong is what kept that from being a double play ball. Even a long stretch by the very tall and long-armed Jose Martinez couldn't get it done. Right into the breadbasket. Wong recovered quickly enough, but it goes to show you how fast Peraza is. I mean, not like Billy Hamilton, but only about a step behind.
And here's Joey Votto back in the starting lineup, having that 202 consecutive games played streak snapped last night. In fact, he didn't appear in the game at all. Brian Price looking to keep him fresh. Check swing. And the count's 0-1. Votto's been good against the Cardinals over the last 4 seasons and 62 appearances. He has a 1.181 OPS, and that would translate to a 379 batting average, 687 slugging percentage, and a 494 on base percentage. Count is 1-1. Also has an active 13-game hitting streak against the Cardinals. And his career numbers also very, very good. Fouled out of play. Scooter Jeanette on deck. Well, like you, Chris, when the people that I asked around the Cardinals organization, I just asked who's your best pitcher. I didn't ask best player, but without hesitation, they all said Luke Weaver. Luke Weaver's our best pitcher.
Now that's pretty high accolades for a young man that is only a few years removed from being a pitcher in the ACC for the Florida State Seminoles. He was drafted in the first round by the Cardinals in 2014.
27th overall.
So he was down on the list, but the one thing that, you know, that if you watch him a lot, they will tell you that he really competes, but he's also polished. He came very polished right out of college, and that's why he made the major leagues at age 22.
One-two pitch to Votto. Check swing and blocked by Molina.
I haven't seen Votto bob up and down like that very much. Did you see him in the batter's box right before that last pitch? It seemed like Weaver was coming to the stretch and holding the ball for a long period of time, and Votto would stand straight up and then get back down and kind of bob a little bit. I have not seen him do that. He's usually kind of stoic, has a little motion, but like foundation firm.
Did it again. Four plate appearances versus Weaver, hit and a strikeout. Two-two pitch. Again, served to left field. Ozuna going towards the line. He's got it. 2 outs. Here's your Ford defensive lineup for the Cardinals. In the outfield, the aforementioned Marcell Ozuna. In left, Tommy Pham in center. Dexter Fowler manning right field. In the infield, Matt Carpenter back at third base. DeYoung, Wong, Martinez, and Molina. The same lineup we saw last night. Matt Carpenter, number 13. On Friday the 13th.
Well, that's a shutdown move right there by Weaver to first base.
Swing and a miss by Jeanette.
And consequently, a very tidy lead at first base by Jose Peraza. I mean, he is barely off the bag for the second fastest guy probably in the ballpark tonight. He's not venturing too far off at all.
Scooter hitting an even 300, as you saw. He's riding a 4-game hitting streak, as is Peraza. Still seeking his first home run of the season. In that 4-game hitting streak, a pair of 2-hit games. And he's hit safely in 9 of his 12 appearances overall. Weaver gets the call on the outside corner.
Weaver's favorite 2 pitches are his fastball. He'll throw that about 60% of the time, and his changeup. He'll throw that to left-handers about 30% of the time. He rarely uses anything else. He does have a curve and a slider, mixes them in a little bit, but mostly fastball, changeup.
Swing and a miss, and down goes Jeanette. And down go the Reds in the first. We are scoreless at Great American Ball. allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Tyler Mahle back on the hill, and he'll face Ozuna, Martinez, and Molina here in the second. And Ozuna, a tough out right now. Steps in with an 11-game hitting streak. After starting the season 0 for 8. He's hit well since, just under 300 at 293. A couple of home runs. One came last night, and 8 RBIs on the season. And if he plays long enough, who knows, he could get into that Reds killer list. 19 career hits versus the Reds. 13 have been for extra base hits. 13 of the 19 hits.
That's pretty amazing, really. I mean, remember that Ozuna played for the Marlins, so he didn't really face the Reds all that much. That will change quickly now with him in this division.
Well, those hits, 7 doubles, a triple, and 5 home runs.
Showing a pretty good eye at the plate. He's taken every pitch he's seen up there. Both strikes have been right on the edge by Mahle.
Payoff pitch, foul back. I will do the 3-2 again. And again fouled off. Strike 3 call. That is 3 in a row by Tyler Mahle.
Well, Ozuna saw just about everything that Mahle has in this at bat, and he finally takes a pitch that is right on the outside corner. Just a good old-fashioned 4-seam fastball. You know, if you haven't faced Tyler Mahle before, the hardest thing to get used to is how the ball kind of has a second life. I mean, the radar gun, he's not lightening up. I mean, it's 93 miles an hour, and this is he's a great example of why you simply can't scout by the radar gun alone. But the extra life he has on his fastball is something that deceives the hitters.
And people,
nothing worse than throwing 95 and looking like you're throwing 95.
Yeah.
For Mahle, it looks like he's throwing 90 and he's throwing 93.
Well, people talk about him hiding the ball a little bit. I asked him about that, if it's something that he tried to develop on his own. Here's a ground ball, dive by Jeanette, but he can't get it, and it's a base hit into right field. So Jose Martinez continues his onslaught in this series.
I think you make a good point, Jim. The hiding the ball is part of it right here. There's no doubt about it. Martinez just trying to take whatever Mahle will give him right there. They're playing him tucked up the middle a little bit. A lot of open spot on the right side.
What Mahle told me, he said, no, I've never worked on that. In fact, no one had ever really told me that I have that sneaky fastball till I got to Double-A, and hitters started saying he's got a sneaky fastball and he hides it a little extra bit. He says, it's just my natural delivery. So blessed. There goes the runner from first. Throw down by Mesoraco, and he got it.
On a changeup. Nice play by Mesoraco there. You know, you're always looking for a breaking ball or an off-speed pitch to go on, and that was a changeup, and it was down low. And Mesoraco was able just to put it right on the money and shoot down Martinez.
You know, one thing that we've seen from Scooter Gennett, he's had his troubles defensively, but one thing he does do is apply a quick tag on the base. A nice play. Mesoraco to Gennett. 2 outs in the inning. Yadier Molina, 2 for 5 last night. A couple of RBIs, including a home run. It surprised us a little bit with some second deck power. And here's some power to right field. Irvin going back. Goodbye.
Holy Moses, where did that power come from?
Opposite field power, Yadier Molina. Second straight game with a home run. And the Cardinals out to a 1-0 lead. He has 5 home runs on the season so far.
You know, over the years, we've been very used to seeing Yadier Molina shoot that ball to right field. More often than not, it's a little bit of a base hit, lands right in front of the right fielder. This one is not that bad of a pitch. Look at him go down and get it.
Nearly a one-handed swing. Well, he has booed a lot here, Yadier Molina, because of things that have happened in the past, but that's his 14th career home run at Great American Ballpark. And here's Paul DeYoung, who himself went deep last night. One and two. Strike 3 called. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Tyler Mahle, but a solo home run by Yadier Molina. Follow the leader. Jackets won game 1 last night in OT. Coverage starts at 7 o'clock. With Blue Jackets live with the puck drop to follow here on Fox Sports Ohio. You can stream it on Fox Sports Go. April in the OHIO is presented by Menards. Mesoraco, Duvall, Phillip Ervin here in the second for the Reds. Mesoraco in the air. Deep left field, but drifting foul. Had the distance, not the direction. One pitch to Mesoraco. Check swing and a foul ball.
You know, Mesoraco, I've always thought that watching him, I mean, he's a big burly guy, a real throwback blue collar type of a player, right? But he doesn't hit the ball, he muscles the ball.
Yeah.
Like that first towering foul ball that he hit down the left field line.
Weaver had 1-2. Up and in. By the way, Jesse Winker was scratched because of right shoulder soreness. Count holds at 2-2. So Philip Irvin inserted into the lineup late. He will bat third here in this inning. Full count. Popped up. Molina back to the screen. Watches it fall in the second row. Do it again. Jared Weaver is not allowed a home run or a walk as a starter versus the Reds, which now spans 12 innings. Luke Weaver. Did I drop a Jared Weaver on him?
You did, but you got a couple more of those to use up before we get angry.
Kangaroo court.
Get angry. Kangaroo court could be.
Check swing and strike three.
I think he knew it. You know, you see the similarity between these two pitchers. Really, the big difference is that Luke Weaver's second pitch is his slider. This is a four-seam fastball. And Tyler Mally's second pitch Mally's is a slider and Luke Weaver's is a changeup. But they're both young, strong-arm pitchers that have a little extra hop on that fastball.
Luke Weaver has fanned 15 in 12 1/3 innings now as a starter versus the Reds. Weaver ahead, no balls and 2 strikes.
Well, you can really see where Weaver gets that power from. I mean, he's not a big burly guy by any means, but his timing is perfect. Pushing off the rubber hard with a right foot. I mean, he drops that back leg and you can really see him thrust.
Here comes the 0-2. 1-2. Duvall hopes the Cardinals are the right medicine to get him going. His last 17 appearances versus St. Louis going back to April of last year. .345 average. Ground ball to Young. Scooped up. 2 outs. Now with 2 outs, here's Philip Irvin. Irvin started last night, went 1 for 4. A very late addition to the starting lineup.
Well, right now Weaver is just right all over the corners. In fact, both these pitchers early on, I mean, it looks like they are on top of their game. An opposite field home run is the difference so far.
And like you said, not a bad pitch by Tyler Mahle.
I think when Tyler Mahle goes back and looks at that on video, he's going to say, hey, you know, you got to tip your hat to Yadier Molina right here.
Yep. Strike 3 call. Down go the Reds. Cliff Pennington pitched last night. We have more on that with Shannon Ford next.
He's back in the position role at third base and is hoping he fares okay with a sore arm. Jim, Chris?
Said this morning he was a little sore at that luncheon that we had. And he was, Brian Price was there as well, and said he was one batter away from getting pulled, and they were going to put Goslin in there next had he not retired that last batter. Scooter Jeanette we had speculated on, but Scooter had some shoulder problems in spring training, so we didn't want to throw him out there.
Well, they still had a couple of position players available, including Mesoraco, I think, last night, and Joey Votto.
Yeah. There's usually a lot of guys volunteering for that. They just want to give it a shot. He's like, I hope the pitchers were watching, because I was working quickly. Get it and fire. Down goes Luke Weaver, 2 outs. As you enjoy a Miller Lite, look forward to the Hold True moment later in tonight's game. That coming up. 5 strikeouts now for Tyler Mahle. And we'll flip it back to the top of the order, and Dexter Fowler. Switch hitting Fowler, batting from the left side against the righty Mahle, and a first pitch strike. You don't have to tell Tyler Mahle to work quickly, because he's on it.
Well, I think you really control the pace of the game, and you control the inning when you work fast. You challenge the hitters to stay in the batter's box or get back in, because you get help from the umpire. If you work fast, the umpire will help you get the batters in the batter's box.
Pennington, we'll see what he's got. Nice throw. And a nice inning for Tyler Mahle. 1-0 Cardinals here on Fox Sports Ohio. contacts. During tonight's game, William Uellum. He said, William Uellum from Lebanon, Ohio, will get this beautiful new Tundra on display at Great American Ballpark thanks to your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. One-run game. Pennington, Malley, Hamilton here in the bottom of the third for the Reds. Cliff Pennington in his first season with the Reds. Got some youngsters at home who are into baseball big time, and Cliff joked that he often plays more baseball at home than he does on the job.
Nothing wrong with that.
That they are constantly playing baseball. But the Suns, Texas guy, his favorite player, Craig Biggio. Loved how he was a tough-nosed, hard-nosed, all-out player. Rips it, but foul. Three-two pitch. Off the mid of Molina. Pennington stays alive. In the air, right field. Fowler, one out. And that'll set up pitcher v. pitcher. Tyler O'Malley 1 for 3 this year as a hitter. 2 for 10 career. Sack bunt along the way. We heard Shannon Ford talking about superstitions earlier. Were you a superstitious player?
Yeah. In fact, I didn't really know any that were not.
It seems to be, I don't want to say totally dying out.
Yeah.
But it's certainly not as much as it used to be. Because you ask the players now, maybe one or two things, but there's nothing obnoxious like some of the players back in the day.
What we used to attribute to luck, they now can figure out with analytics. So maybe, you know, it wasn't bad luck to put the bats away. You know, if you're in a lopsided game, one of the things you never wanted to do was put your bats away, assuming that you wouldn't need them again. I mean, step on the line, all sorts of things like that.
Oh, that one still exists.
You know, you wear your lucky shirt underneath your uniform.
Yeah.
Or your lucky underwear.
We've seen some crazy things over the years. Probably the craziest I heard, and he's now going to be a colleague of ours, and that's Danny Graves. And I'm going to have him re-explain this on the air one day. He had a process of putting his socks on that, I'm not kidding, there was 20-some steps. Each sock had to be put on a certain way, and then his pants. And he counted it up. It was 20-some steps. Danny, if you're out there, text me. Tell me how many steps, because we got to relive this. It was unbelievable. We went through this, and I'm like, you do this every day, every time you put on a uniform? He says, yes, have to. Have to do it. Players nowadays, not a whole lot. Count counts 2 balls and 2 strikes to Billy Hamilton. Choking up a bit with 2 strikes. Stays alive again.
You know, there's a guy in the other dugout who is the running coach and the outfield coach for the Cardinals named Willie McGee, who at one time was an MVP for the Cardinals back in 1985, known for speed, but also slapping the ball around. Had an interesting conversation with Willie, and it included Billy Hamilton. We'll get to that a little later on. There's Willie.
Willie McGee. Off to the 4th we go. And by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. Beautiful shot. Great American Ballpark. Looking across from northern Kentucky to downtown Cincinnati along the Ohio River. Glad he could join us for Reds baseball. Alongside Chris Welsh, I'm Jim Day. Tyler Mahle facing Tommy Pham. We've talked about Pham's story before. And his doctor says it's literally a 1 in a million shot for him to make it to the major leagues. He has a degenerative eye condition. In 2008, he was actually diagnosed of being legally blind in his left eye. The doctor describes it as having like halos or double images, or like looking through a windshield that has Vaseline on it as he shoots one the other way into right field for a base hit. And it's a condition which he had some surgery to help halt the erosion, but he has to wear a variety of contact lenses, and at times during the games he'll go through 4 or 5 pairs of contacts and will have to give himself impromptu eye tests to make sure that his eyesight is okay to go up to the plate. It's something that he continues to deal with, and again, his doctor, if you were to ask him back in 2008 if he's going to be a big league ball player, he said 1 in a million. So an unbelievable story, and there he goes as Carpenter fouls it out of play. I just can't imagine being in the batter's box and not being able to fully see.
Well, you would never know based on his numbers, and I'm not only talking about major league numbers for Tommy Pham. He's had a great run of it in the short time he's been with the Cardinals, but I mean in the minor leagues, just one great year after another. '20 guy last year. First Cardinal since
former Red Reggie Sanders back in 2004. So Malley paying attention to Pham, who has 2 steals already this season. He's been caught stealing twice as well.
Malley is a little bit like Luke Weaver in as much as he's pretty quick to the plate. He has a very abbreviated delivery. It's almost a modified slide step. A slide step is when you just pick your foot up and slide towards the plate. Don't give the runner any chance at all to get a running jump.
Malley working the inside part of the plate, and the count is 2-1. One pitch. Again trying the inside corner, and again just misses, and it's 3-1.
That's one of those pitches that could go either way, and umpires are human beings, and when you earn a reputation like Matt Carpenter has done for having a good eye at the plate, oftentimes you get the marginal pitches.
Strike called, didn't get it that time.
Same thing happens when you're a guy like Joey Votto.
Yep.
The strike zone just shrinks just a little bit, whether it's intentional or not by umpires. I would think it's very unintentional. It's just a natural thing.
Early on, Angel Hernandez seems to be giving the outside corner, not so much the inside corner. There goes the runner, and he's going to have to go back. Hamilton gloves out, number 1. And that'll bring up Marcell Ozuna, who was a strikeout victim looking his first time up. Ground ball, could be 2. Peraza, Jeanette, Votto. That's a double play. Reds will try to cut into a 1-0 lead.
begins at 12:30 p.m. with the game to follow. You can also watch on Fox Sports Go. April in the OHIO is presented by Menards. And back on the mound tomorrow is lefty Brandon Finnegan, who said his emotions were running wild while he was waiting for the call-up, but ultimately the decision was out of his control, so he just kept himself ready to go. And the guy is fresh as a daisy, saying it feels like he hasn't pitched in years. He'll harness that excitement and the nerves just as he has before when he takes the mound tomorrow. And what a picture-perfect story on his 25th birthday.
All right, Shannon, thank you very much. Brandon Finnegan sharing a birthday with
Pete Rose.
I was going Chris Welsh. I was going to back it up with Pete Rose.
Greg Maddox.
Wow, that's a star-studded birthday.
The day the Titanic sunk.
You know what?
It's only the fact, Jim.
That's
only the fact.
You know, now that I think about it, that's true. I'm a history buff, and that is indeed the day the Titanic sunk.
It was depending on which part of the date line you were on, you know, over in the Atlantic. But
wow,
there's the backstory for you.
We appreciate that, and a history lesson to boot. Mercy, that's beautiful. We'll be celebrating your birthday here tomorrow. Speaking of birthdays, how about today, our guy, Ron Millenor, a.k.a. Rufus, one of our producers and one of the hardest workers on the planet, celebrating a birthday today, who Marty Brenneman calls the ruggedly handsome Ron Millenor. Happy birthday. Praza swings it one up in the zone. For one out.
Also want to wish a happy birthday to a gentleman who worked for the Reds for a long time. He is now celebrating his 95th year, 95 years old, to Lou Porco. He worked for the Reds from 1961 to 1987. He was in charge of the finances for the Big Red Machine, and we want to give Lou a big shout out from his family, Adam and Pam and Dominic and everybody. So happy birthday, Lou Porco.
Happy birthday indeed, as Votto is easily retired. He handled the finances for the Big Red Machine?
He did indeed, yeah.
Like for the whole organization?
Yes.
Where they were dealing with some ticket sales back then now. Brand spanking new Riverfront Stadium, 1970. Which included my family many, many times.
And mine.
And yours as well. 2 outs. Here's Jeanette. Left field. Ozuna barely has to move. An 8-pitch inning for Luke Weaver. purchase Reds tickets, enjoy live mascot races, face painters, and more. Plus, it's Jackie Robinson Day, and in celebration, kids 14 and younger will get a Jackie Robinson Fathead thanks to Noodles World Kitchen. For tickets, visit Reds.com. Hope you come out to the yard on Sunday. Pitcher's duel here, 5th inning. Tyler Mahle ready for his 5th inning of work. And he will get Martinez, Molina, and DeYoung here in the 5th. Martinez a single his first time up. All he did last night was 4 for 5 and a career high 6 RBIs last night. And he likes himself some GABP. He is now 10 for 19 in 4+ games in this ballpark.
Yeah, the Reds are going to figure out how to have to pitch to this young man who has been a good young player, but never really had a team take a chance on him.
He shoots one the other way, and another base hit. He's 2 for 2.
Been with several organizations, has Martinez been. It really has not kind of taken off as a big leaguer until age 27. Boy, after a mammoth home run last night in the left center field, both times up tonight, Martinez decides to go the other way. That's smart hitting.
And per the booze, you can probably tell who's at the plate. One Yadier Molina. First pitch swinging. Got to hurry. Throws it into right field. Errant throw, Cliff Pennington, and 2 are aboard.
You know, I'm wondering if there's something about that arm. You know, we were kind of kidding about it earlier about his arm being sore, but let's face it, he hasn't pitched in a long time. He didn't condition himself to pitch down in the minor or in spring training this year, and he gets this ball. This is a double play ball all the way. Sets, throws, and just throws it wide. And I bet Cliff Pennington hasn't missed by the mark that much in 5 years.
I agree with you. There's no question he's got to have a sore arm today. It's only natural.
And maybe not sore like injured sore,
yeah,
but stiff.
Stiff, yeah. All right, we'll see if Mahle can clean it up, and this time Pennington boots it. Back-to-back plays to forget. And back-to-back E5s.
Now, by all rights, Tyler Mahle ought to be head of the dugout right now, looking for a seat, taking his hat off, having a nice drink of water. Instead, bases loaded now, nobody out. Back-to-back errors puts Cardinals all over the bases. I mean, what do you do if you're Pennington? You shake your head, you get ready for the next, and what you really do is you hope the next ball is hit to you. Because he'll be coming up and firing to Mesoraco at home in hopes of a 5-2-3 double play.
Oh, he's been around the block enough to put it behind him. Pennington will play in on the cut of the grass at third. The rest of the infield conceding a run.
This is where, if you're Tyler Mahle, you're thinking strikeout here. You know, once you get a strike on the hitter, that's when you can really start getting serious about a strikeout.
Counts 1-1.
Colton Wong, a young man that hails from Hilo, Hawaii, on the Big Island. In fact, his dad is in attendance tonight. His brother Kinu plays for the Durham Bulls, and they're in Columbus playing against the Columbus Clippers.
Popped up.
Should be an infield fly affair.
Foul ball. Peraza calls off Pennington. A big out for Mahle.
Well, that's every bit as good as a strikeout. And now with the pitcher up. He struck out last time up. He didn't really look all that confident at the plate, Weaver. But what you're almost hoping here is he makes contact and hits a nice little ground ball that induces the double play. Now they'll pitch out of the stretch.
Swing and a miss.
You know, Malley has that kind of delivery when he is even in the full windup. It is so similar to the stretch position that he has to tell the umpire if there's a man on third base, you know, especially with the bases loaded now, whether I'm going from the stretch or the full windup. Stretch all the way.
One out in the inning. Votto's playing in on the grass at first base, and that last pitch, he was charging. Ground ball. Gotta hurry. Peraza, Jeanette on to first base. That's a double play. Malley, bases loaded and nobody out, and gets out of it. Nicely done, Tyler Malley.
Authority of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Time now for our IGS Bringing the Energy in a 1-0 pitcher's duel here from Great American Ballpark. Tyler Malley versus Luke Weaver. And as you check out the numbers, quite the battle so far.
Well, a great battle, and I mean, especially last inning with Tyler Malley working out of that jam, bases loaded, nobody out. He had the bottom of the lineup up. The key out was the pop-up he got from Colton Wong, and then induced a ground ball from the pitcher to end the inning. He doesn't look like he's all happy and satisfied in there. Right in the middle of a good old good one right here, 1-0.
He's about as even-keeled as you'll meet.
Yeah, I think this kid is going to be some kind of a special pitcher.
So he's got what they call moxie, and he's not afraid to challenge hitters. And I know you hate this term, but pitching to contact, or at least it seemed to draw your ire yesterday.
Well, with his stuff, it's not always contact. pitching strikes, attacking the strike zone, and trying to get a decision in the at-bat in fewer than three pitches or fewer.
Having the hitters get themselves out.
Exactly. Now you're on board.
All right, there we go. The Pitchers Association finally agrees. Let the hitters get themselves out. We'll mark that down. No more pitching to contact. Mesoraco, Duvall, Irvin here in the 5th. Reds seeking their first hit against Luke Weaver. Mesoraco struck out swinging his first time up. Here's a ground ball up the middle. Diving stop by DeYoung. Not in time. What an effort by DeYoung. But Mesoraco with the first hit of the night for the Reds.
And a hustling hit it was for Devin Mesoraco. I mean, he comes out of the batter's box, almost falls down when he takes a swing. But busting it down the line as best he possibly can, and he beats it by a hair.
You know, that's one thing to always like about Devin Mesoraco. It doesn't matter what the situation is, he's always busting.
Yeah, you're exactly right about that. I mean, I've never seen him not run down the line hard, ever. And they're going to take another look at it.
All right, Bill Miller, the crew chief, on the headsets with Todd Tishner. Take a look. A very close play. Call on the field, safe. But rules man, is it the back of the glove?
You know, when they first instituted it, Jim, it was the back of the glove. Now they changed it last year to be any part of the glove. So if it hit the laces, not the laces, but if it hit the webbing first, before it goes all the way into the back of the glove, it's going to be out. They used to listen. What most umpires do on a very close call of first base is they use their ears as much as their eyes. They'll listen for the ball in the glove versus the foot on the bag. And one thing, you know, so if it touches any part of that glove on the way in, this is what they're looking at in New York. Right here, and the other thing, of course, is does his foot stay on the bag when he catches the ball? You know, interesting, I was talking to a rules expert today, and his name is Rich Marazzi. In fact, he's one of the rules experts for Fox Sports and for about 15 of the major league teams out there. And it was an incident where, as a tag play on a stolen base, where as the runner was coming in, the laces from the glove tagged the runner, but none of the other part of the glove did. And they sent it back to New York, and he was originally ruled out. They overruled it and said he was safe because the laces, when they're hanging off the glove, are not actually part of the glove.
Wow, interesting.
It's actually has to be part of the woven part, you know, that is connected to the leather.
MLB's goal was for 2 minutes or under for replays, and we are well over that.
Well, unless they feel like it is close enough that they may overturn it. If it looks like that it's, you know, no way we have enough evidence to overturn it, they're going to get it done in 2 minutes or less.
Wow, safe.
So the longer it takes, the better the chance of an overturn.
A none to please Mike Matheny, but the call goes the Reds' way, and it stands as the first hit of the night for Cincinnati.
Well, they don't really feel that Adam Duvall is going to hit the ball the other way at all. Colton Wong is almost snug right next to the second base bag. The right side of the infield wide open. You don't see too many shifts on right-handed hitters. as dramatic as what the Cardinals are playing here against Duvall.
That last play, officially the call stands. The replay took 2 minutes and 55 seconds. 1-0 pitch to Duvall, popped up. Foul territory. Carpenter calls off Molina. 1 out. And here comes Phillip Ervin. Ervin struck out looking his first time up. Look out. If you're just joining us, the Cardinals got a run in the second. It was a home run off the bat of Yadier Molina. An opposite field home run. That's the only run in this game. Oh, 1 pitch. 1-1.
You know, Ervin was another guy that could probably have pitched last night. He pitched in college when he was at Samford University. Young man born in Mobile, Alabama.
Luke Weaver works from that extreme first base side of the rubber. Out of the stretch. I mean, he's barely got a toe on it.
It's interesting because Weaver works from the first base side. Malley works from the third base side. And I'll tell you why. Weaver's best pitch behind his fastball is a changeup. And that pitch will run towards a right-handed hitter, away from a left-handed hitter. So by being on the first base side, it gives him more room with which to work on that pitch. Malley goes to third base because his best pitch is a slider, and it moves away from a right-hander, and it gives him more room to use his best pitch.
Interesting. Another pop-up. Wong calls off the first baseman. 2 outs. And now a quick message from Miami Valley Gaming.
Get ready to get lucky.
Two outs, runner on first. Cliff Pennington at the plate. And here's a chance for Pennington to make up for a couple of errors, although Tyler Malley picked him up getting out of the 5th inning. Bases loaded, nobody out, and got out of it. That's picking up your teammate. One ball, one strike. Two and one. Count evens at 2-2. Pennington flied out to right his first time up. He was 0 for 1 here last night. Switch hitter. Facing a 2-2 count. Swing and a miss. Red Strand 1. 6th inning, here we come. 1-run game.
Now, we've been talking about Friday the 13th all night long, and that leads us to our historical moment in Reds history, brought to you by Geico. On Friday the 13th in May 2011, Joey Votto had a walk-off RBI single, scoring Chris Heisey in the 10th off Jason Mott. It was the Reds' 5th straight win on Friday the 13th, the longest active streak at that time.
Wow. Let's hope for another Friday the 13th magic tonight. We'll take that inning right there. Although we'll take it in the 9th. How about that?
Well, the Reds desperately in need of a win. And some of the games they played recently, the starting pitching hasn't allowed them really to be in the ball game. Last night, the starting pitching wasn't all that bad. The middle relief kind of let the game get away from them in the 7th inning. But Mahle tonight is keeping the team right in this ball game. He's only given up 4 hits. And he's only down by 1.
He'll face the top of the order here in the 6th. And Mahle could use a little offense when he's on the mound too. The Reds have scored 1 run and has 7 total hits in his 3 starts this year. So for whatever reason, there's always one guy seems to be going through a season that just doesn't get the run support, and it really has nothing to do with the pitcher. It's kind of just how baseball falls, and the baseball gods, if you will. Irvin going back, jumps up, and it's out of here. Dexter Fowler just muscled that one out of here.
What Tyler Mahle is going to realize is that front row of the sun deck or the moon deck is not the pitcher's best friend. We have seen so many balls in this ballpark hit well, but not great. You can see the reaction of Mahle. Kind of drops his head when he sees that ball trajectory coming off the bat, but another front row job.
That ball will fall. Blooper off the bat of Tommy Pham. Yeah, you're right, Chris. Over the years, it's been so many home runs. That first or second row. If that wall was just even high enough to cover the first or second row, I wonder how many home runs over the years wouldn't have happened. It'd be a ton. It'd be a lot.
Well, part of the attraction of sitting out there, and they are some of the best seats you can find in this ballpark, is that you feel like you are right on top of the action. And believe me, the pitcher feels you're right on top of the action too.
No, those are great seats out there. And now you've got the bow tie bar out there now with a second deck out there. Talked about last night. It's been getting rave reviews. This one down the right field line, and this one's trouble. On his way to third base is Pham. They're going to hold him up there. 3 consecutive hits for the Cardinals, and nobody out here in the 6th.
Third time through the order now, and Tyler Mahle just throws one pretty much a get-ahead one right down Broadway. And Carpenter is a guy that likes to watch the pitches, but when he gets deeper into a ball game and he sees what a pitcher has, he'll be a little bit more aggressive as he was here in that at-bat, swinging early on.
Mesoraco out to have a chat.
You got to wonder how much emotional strength Tyler Mahle has left after getting out of that last inning, bases loaded, nobody out. I mean, this is where pitchers get fatigued. It's not pitch counts, really. It's not physical fatigue. It's mentally beat up. And he had such an emotional high when he got out of that jam. And he's on the verge of another big one right here, and the meat of the order coming up.
Do you think that's something that you can fight off the older you get, the more experience you have in the league, or is it?
I think it helps. It really does, yeah.
Well, he's still a young guy, and the fact that 23 years of age, 185 days, Mahle became the youngest pitcher to record a major league win this season. He beat the Cubs. So 23 years of age, talking baby years, and this one into left field. RBI Marcell Ozuna, and a 3-0 Cardinals lead.
Well, another pitch in a very hittable spot right now. And of course, also the Cardinals have seen him a little bit. He struck out Ozuna looking the first time on a 3-2 fastball. Ozuna then grounded into a ground ball double play to end the 4th inning. And he gets a hittable pitch on the inner third, and Ozuna now has gone to school on him and is able to center it up.
And that'll bring the entire infield together with pitching coach Mac Jenkins. Kevin Quackenbush, right-hander, warming up in the pen for the Reds.
I know Brian Price, one of the things he probably hoped for more than anything tonight was to have Tyler Mahle go deep into a game. I mean really deep into the game, like 7 innings worth. Because his bullpen is short. They made a roster move today to bring another pitcher up out of AAA.
Well, he only has 69 pitches right here.
Again, the hitters tell you what you need to know about the pitch count.
I agree with that.
I think they could take the light bulbs that light up the pitch count and just darken them, because it doesn't mean anything.
I agree with you. Geeks like me make too much out of pitch counts.
Well said.
Thank you. I'm very self-aware. Jose Martinez, the Reds have had trouble getting this guy out. 6 RBI night last night, 4 for 5. He's only 2 for 2 tonight. Ground ball. Holds the runner at third. Nicely done by Pennington.
Yeah, that was a veteran play all the way around. With Matt Carpenter at third base, he got off the bag just far enough to tempt Pennington to maybe go after him. Watch Carpenter coming off the bag right here. And as soon as Pennington runs at him, he scampers back to the bag. Pennington still has time to get Martinez. So you can't play it any better from both sides on that play.
Ozuna made it to second base, so it's second and third, 1 out. Yadier Molina at the plate. Infield playing in for the Reds. They'll try to cut down that run at the plate. Base hit, left field. 1 run scores. They're going to wave around the runner from second. Throw to the plate, offline. They've got Molina. There's no one covering first base. Had him caught up for a minute. But it's a 2 RBI hit by Molina. And the Cardinals have busted it open.
Well, the one way to get Molina to hit the ball on the ground is pitch him inside, but low and inside. And this ball rides up around the letters, and Molina is able to level it right into left field. You're not going to get a ground ball there.
Here comes Brian Price. That'll be it for Tyler Mahle.
That's a shame, because Mahle really had it working. I mean, through the first 5 innings, it was as good as he has pitched this year in any one of his 3 starts. We'll see other good nights out of Mahle.
I have no doubt about that. Brian Price talking it over with Angel Hernandez. He'll make a double switch, which we'll tell you about on the other side. It's our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. here in the 6th inning. And as Chris said, he was good early on, but just hit a wall, and he'll give the ball now to Kevin Quackenbush.
Well, Quackenbush is a young man that grew up in Tampa, Florida. Born in Land O'Lakes, which is a community right outside of Tampa. Went to the University of South Florida High School and was drafted by the San Diego Padres 2011 in the 8th round, and came up through the Padre organization, spent his major league career with the Padres until he was designated for assignment, and then signed a minor league deal with the Reds last November. And he was one of those guys, Jim, in spring training, and you saw a lot of games in the spring, that he was kind of under the radar. No one really talked about Kevin Quackenbush.
No one at all.
All of a sudden, he started, getting batters out and worked his way into the conversation. Well, he's an innings eater right now.
Facing Paul DeYoung. Phil Goslin came into the game replacing Pennington in the double switch. He'll hit 9th. He'll be up first when the Reds take their at bat in the bottom of the 6th. You mentioned the Padres and Quackenbush. He was up and down with them. He told me he estimated the 4 years, probably 27 trips between AAA and the big club. 27 trips. And I believe their AAA affiliate is El Paso. That's not a short trip, San Diego to El Paso. It's not like driving up 71 from Louisville. Or should I say Louisville?
And the destination is not exactly at Louisville either.
No. No,
It used to be the Padres had their AAA team in Honolulu.
Wow.
And the joke was, we're sending you up to AAA.
Hold on a second. San Diego is like paradise on earth. Yeah. Their AAA affiliate was in Hawaii? That's just unfair.
The Islanders, the Hawaii Islanders.
Something is not right with this picture. Wow. Popped it up. In foul ground, Votto has it. Quackenbush retires DeYoung. Well, you were a former Padre. Was the AAA affiliate in Hawaii at that time?
It was indeed in Hawaii, and I never, unfortunately, got sent down.
You came over from the Yankees to the Padres, right? Never, unfortunately, got sent down. It's a different way of looking at it,
Every time I got sent down, it was places like, Columbus.
Hey, now, come on.
I'm just teasing you. Wichita, not Honolulu.
I mean, at that time, it was Columbus Clippers, ring your bell.
Better believe it.
At the Cooper Stadium back then.
Rang the bell a lot back in those days.
I used to cover a lot of Columbus Clipper games, man.
I'm not really sure what's going on with the throwovers by Quackenbush to Yadier Molina.
Well, Molina has about a 1-foot lead.
Actually, Joey Votto has a bigger lead than Molina does.
Counts 1-1 to Colton Wong. By the way, we should clarify, earlier we said the Titanic sank, tomorrow's date in history. It actually hit the iceberg on the 14th. Here's the ball into right field. And Molina's on his way to third base. First and third, 2 outs. So for all you history buffs out there, we're saying Titanic did not sink on the 14th. It hit the iceberg, but sank on the 15th.
Now, Walker's a young man that grew up in Hawaii, Hilo, Hawaii. I mentioned that earlier. In fact, he was part of a when he was 12 years old, the first ever Cal Ripken World Series. The team from Hilo won that World Series,
Really?
and he was on that, coached by his dad. Kaha, who is in attendance somewhere tonight. We tried to locate him, we just can't find him. So a good chance to get out of the inning right now for Quackenbush.
Is that on the Big Island?
It is.
Yeah.
And the Reds defense definitely needs to get out of the off the field and in the dugout.
Boy, Weaver doesn't get cheated at the plate for a pitcher. Taking big cuts up there. Weaver stays alive. We'll do the 1-2 again. It has been a 4-run 6th inning for the Cardinals, and it'll stay right there. But they have a 5-0 lead here on Fox Sports Ohio. Has to offer on your next visit to Great American Ballpark. For tickets, visit Reds.com. Ain't gonna lie, I could use some of that right now. You can put barbecue on about anything and I'm in. Which is not shocking to a lot of people, including Chris Welsh. Luke Weaver has been very, very good tonight for the Cardinals. He has given up all of 1 hit, and it was an infield hit. Devin Mesoraco in the last inning. Phil Goslin came in on the double switch when Malley was replaced. Will lead off here in the 6th for the Reds. And speaking of Malley, his final line reads a 5 1/3, 5 hits, 5 runs. They were earned. No walks, 5 strikeouts, and 2 home runs. He threw 73 pitches tonight. 2-1 pitch to Phil Gosselin. Grounded foul. Well, it would behoove the Reds to come back in this game and play well this weekend, because they're in a stretch right now where they're playing 13 of 17 games on the road. And it is a weird kind of schedule too, because it's in and out of town. Reds just came back from a trip through Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. And this homestand's only 4 games. These 4 games against the Cardinals, and then it's right back on the road. Trip through Milwaukee, and then they'll return the favor against these Cardinals next weekend as Gosselin strikes out. And then after that road trip, the Reds come home to face the Atlanta Braves for 4, and then go right back on the road. But you got to play them how they line them up. Here's Billy Hamilton. And Chris, I thought it was very interesting when you were talking about Willie McGee as a guy that just kind of sprayed the ball around.
He had a very unconventional approach. If you remember Willie McGee, he was moving the batter's box. He'd move from spot to spot, you know, depending on the pitcher or the pitch count. He would slap the ball to left field. He'd sometimes hook the ball to right. You never really knew where he was going to hit the ball. He fouled off a lot of pitches just to try to stay alive. Very frustrating and pesky. And we were talking about the way hitting has evolved in the major leagues now, and there's so much. I don't want to say analytics, but there's a lot less of that kind of stuff.
No way they're going to get Hamilton on that play.
And what Willie McGee was saying, that everybody now is kind of doing the same thing. You're being taught from an early age to, you know, to get your load going with your hands and to stay back. And everybody's trying to groove basically the same type of swing. Stay behind the ball, hit it straight up the middle or in between the gaps and so on. And I said, Willie, if they had tried that with you, you may have never made the major leagues. He said, you're exactly right. And I said, you know, what about a guy like Billy Hamilton? And we kind of agreed that Hamilton would be a perfect guy to adopt a more Willie McGee type approach.
I was just going to say, let's show some old footage of Willie McGee slapping the ball the other way to Billy Hamilton.
Because you got to use, I mean, he's going to hit 250 with his legs alone.
All right, Peraza up. Last time Billy Hamilton was on first base, Peraza didn't give him many pitches to steal on. We'll see what happens here.
I don't think you're stealing 5 runs down.
They get Hamilton the lead runner. And here's Votto.
You know, but if you have a pitcher like Luke Weaver, who's so good at holding runners, I mean, he has never given up a stolen base in the major leagues yet. So he's, you know, he hasn't been around very long, but that's the kind of stat that remember we used to throw out there with Johnny Cueto on the mound. A shutdown move to first base. And if you have that, then you've got to go to, you know, plan letter B, which would be maybe a hit and run. And I think Peraza being in the number 2 hole, if Billy Hamilton gets on, you got a situation where the pitcher is really good and you've got Molina behind the plate. Why not force the action on them a little bit? Maybe 5 runs down, not the best play, but early in the game it would have made some sense.
Weaver has been so good so far. The Reds have had only 3 balls reach the outfield. All outs, says Joe Lucca. Two outs. Votto has 1 out there at first base. Look out.
I'll tell you what, that's a pretty good pitch by Luke Weaver, and it was totally intentional. I mean, it really never was in danger of hitting Votto, but it was up and in enough that he had a spin to get out of the way.
Well, Votto likes to crowd that plate and will lean in.
They're going to come right back in there. And Molina wanted it in there, but it kind of ran across the plate. 2 pitches ago, the inside pitch right there. You're trying to buy a little bit of the outside corner. See how much that ball moves from inside to outside. That's why Luke Weaver is pitching from the first base side of the rubber.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Up the middle. How do you do? That ball might have fielded Weaver, but he makes the play. And the Reds are retired here in the 6th. Performance Kings Honda.
You know, the last pitch to Votto, very interesting. Watch his lips right here. He holds the ball, holds the ball, holds the ball, does Luke Weaver. And Votto calls time or asks for time from Major Hernandez. But before Hernandez can give him time, Luke Weaver delivers the pitch. Votto grounds it back to the pitcher and inning over.
First pitch swinging is Dexter Fowler. And it's a base hit center field off of Kevin Quackenbush.
I bring that up because in order for a batter to actually get timeout, you have to ask the umpire for timeout. You just can't step out of the batter's box.
Well, Votto did the smart thing in not holding out his arm towards the umpire or starting to step out.
Exactly. But if you're the pitcher and you see that batter call time, now's the time to pitch because his mind is already, I want timeout.
Well, we've seen a lot where a pitcher's in his windup and time is called and it's granted. Urban goes back and gets it. 1 out.
Maybe we'll visit that on Tech Talk and I'll give you all the ins and outs.
I think we should.
Play. Tune in tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
We'll do it.
The light just went off in the head of our pregame producer, Kent Dream Weaver. Because when you say time filler to a producer.
I didn't say time filler. I said excellent content.
Also known as time fillers. Of course it's going to be excellent content. Tech Talks are money.
I love that show.
Tech Talks are money.
Reds, anytime I can be part of Reds Live, I'm a happy guy.
We just got to get Tom's tidbits going. Dylan Floro warming up in the Reds pen. Reds did make a transaction today. as Tanner Rainey was optioned to Louisville. And he had a tough night last night at the Yard. Dylan Floro was replaced on the 40-man roster, or replaced Ariel Hernandez, who was designated for assignment by the Reds. Strike called. Carpenter didn't like it. Fox Tracks agrees with Carpenter. Counts 2-1. We mentioned that stretch of road games for the Reds. They're also in the midst of playing 15 of 18 games versus National League Central rivals. Two outs, which you see a lot over the last several years. You play your division opponents a lot early on in the season and late in the season. And with two outs, here's Marcell Ozuna. That ball will drift out of play. So with the win tonight, the Cardinals' record would even up at 7-7. Trying to make it back to the playoffs. I talked to him last night, Mike Matheny. Let's face it, you're going to be on the hot seat when you're in Cardinal land and you don't go to the playoffs back-to-back years. They were 83-79 last year, finished third in the Central. They did have a plus 56 run differential. 4 games over. Here's a base hit. Going to third base, trying the arm of Hamilton, and paying the price is Dexter Fowler. My man Bob Ross and more. Guarantee these limited edition collectibles by purchasing a theme ticket package. Visit reds.com/themes. They continue to test the arm of Billy Hamilton, and he has an underrated arm.
Well, 13 of them last year. He gunned down on an outfield assist, and he gets one right there with Fowler trying to take an extra base on him.
His second outfield assist this season.
I wouldn't think that Mike Matheny's got to be very happy with that. Even 5 runs up. You make your third out at third base.
Well, he kind of hesitated too. It looked like it, at least from the naked eye of me, at the corner of my eye, it seemed like Fowler kind of hesitated coming around second base. Wasn't kind of indecisive and not necessarily busting it, and paid the price. Let's take a look. Not running hard there. Now picks it up. He was trying the sneak attack there.
Could have been.
Season average for Jeanette, which started at 300, down to 288. 0 for 2 tonight. Into right field, a base hit. Reds need base runners, and they got one right there to lead off the 7th. Now here comes Devin Mesoraco. Mesoraco with one of 3 hits tonight for Cincinnati. It was an infield single back in the 5th. First pitch strike. One pitch. Catches the outside corner. Fouled out of play. To left. Going back, Ozuna. It's out of here. 2-run home run, Devin Mesoraco, and the Reds are on the board.
Finally giving this crowd of about 20,000 something to cheer about here. The Reds offense coming off the mat after 6 innings of shutout baseball. Devin Mesoraco levels one on Luke Weaver. He almost had one earlier, Mesoraco did. He pulled it foul. This one a line drive. The question was, would it be high enough to get out?
And as you talked about, he just muscles it out of here.
He does.
That is the first home run allowed by Luke Weaver in 2018. And you probably noticed the flickering lights here in Great American Ballpark. First time we've seen that, I believe. And that is part of the new LED light system that has been installed. They are much more efficient. They are much brighter, and you can do things like that. Turn them on and off quickly. And you'll see this all over Major League Baseball. On home runs and wins, they'll flicker the lights to add to the drama, if you will.
And that will probably be the all for Luke Weaver. In fact, it was Yadier Molina that went out to the mound first. He called the entire infield in. And they're presumably in there congratulating Weaver on a job well done here, taking the Cardinals into the 7th inning. And the Cardinals manager will make a pitching change.
Matheny takes the ball.
You know, the way that happened, it's almost like Yadier Molina made the pitching change. He called everybody in from the infield.
Yeah.
And when Matheny saw that, he said, I better get out there and make the change official. On the night was Weaver. There's no question about that. We were really treated to a nice pitching matchup. 24 years old was Weaver. 23 years old was Tyler Mahle. And Weaver got the best of him so far on the night. Now Matt Bowman.
All right, let's see if the Reds can cut into this Cardinals bullpen. Still nobody out here in the 7th. And now a 3-run game. To say Duvall is due might be an understatement. But somehow you trend back to the mean, as I've heard one analyst say before. One and two the count to Duvall.
Well, Bowman was a workhorse for the Cardinals last year. 75 appearances. That tied him for 7th in all the major leagues. And he's not a guy that actually brings the heat at all. In fact, his stuff is very underwhelming. But he's deceptive. He throws strikes, keeps the hitters off balance. Young man that did his college work at Princeton University.
Born in Chevy Chase, Maryland. "26 years of age. He'll turn 27 in May. Matt Bowman. Listed at 6 foot 185.
He gets that split-fingered grip on the ball every time he puts that ball down. He pitches out of the stretch, holds the ball down around his back hip.
The ball reaches out and pulls it into left field. An easy play for Ozuna. First down of the inning.
Ozuna had an interesting night last night from a defensive standpoint. He missed a ground ball that was hit right at him. And then he went basically looking up into the stands and made a terrific catch on a ball that was destined to be in the seats somewhere. So we talked about that at one of the tables at dinner tonight, Jim, and it finally was decided that, well, people forget about the ground ball errors that you overrun, but they always remember the great catches where you go into the stands.
Here it is.
You'll remember this one from Ozuna, but you'll forget that little ground ball where he let the ball go right over his glove. That's how you get a Gold Glove. You're pretty tight with Billy Hamilton. You may want to share that knowledge.
Like I have to share any knowledge to help Billy Hamilton defensively? Are you kidding me?
I don't think he needs much help.
I don't think he needs any help at all. He should have won the Gold Glove last year.
Yes, he should have.
He doesn't need my help. Well, maybe he does. He actually needs your help. You have more pull. Start the campaign right now. No, it was interesting sitting down with Billy and just going over the top plays that he's made.
I watched that show last night. It was fascinating, really. It was on Reds Weekly.
Yep. And we also ran it in a rain delay in its entirety. And it was interesting to hear what his favorite catch is. And that was when he robbed a home run in St. Louis. He's had more spectacular catches, but he said that's the first time he's ever robbed a home run because he came up as a shortstop. That was his favorite. And that happened on Jackie Robinson Day, which we'll celebrate here on Sunday. Here's pinch hitter Alex Blandino for the Reds. Pitch to Blandino. It's a called strike. One and two. Jared Hughes, righty, warming up in the Reds bullpen. He'll come on in the eighth. One-two pitch. 2-2.
Kind of interesting watching Matt Bowman pitch. I mentioned how many games he was in last year. He was in The year before that was basically his rookie year. 2016, he was in 59 games. So that makes him a workhorse, really, from the standpoint of number of times the Cardinals leaned on him. But he doesn't look like a workhorse. So one thing about baseball is that you don't necessarily equate workhorse with a guy that's big and strong, because just because you're big and strong, you lift a lot of weights, or you're just gifted with a huge body, doesn't mean you're going to be able to withstand the rigors of pitching in 75 games.
Yeah.
6 feet, 175 pounds. Workhorse.
Base hit center field. And this will be a night that Alex Blandino will never forget. On this April 13th, 2018, his first major league hit.
Well, he started the at-bat off just right, because when he got to home plate, he said hello to home plate umpire Angel Hernandez. He said hello to Yadier Molina. He ran the count full off Matt Bowman, and then he hits a solid line drive up the middle for major league hit number 1. Congratulations, Alex Blandino.
And they're just putting it on the big board here in the stadium, and a nice round of applause from the Great American Ballpark crowd. They threw the ball aside. Finally got that knock out of the way. There's Gosselin. A 1 pitch. Strike 3 call. But the Reds get on the board. First home run of the season for Devin Mesoraco. A 2-run home run in a 5-2 game. Hottest sports topics, undisputed with Skip and Shannon, weekdays from 9:30 a.m. to noon, only on FS1 and streaming on Fox Sports Go. 5-2 game here at Great American Ballpark. 5 runs, 12 hits, no errors for the Cardinals. 2-5 and 2 for the Reds. And a new pitcher on the hill for Cincinnati. It is Jared Hughes. And he will face Jose Martinez, who grounds it foul. It's finally got Martinez out in the 6th. It was a ground out. 2 for 3 on the night. Eighth appearance of the season for Jared Hughes. And he leads the Reds in that category as far as appearances go. Alex Blandino stays into the game after that first big league hit. He's at third base. Like Hughes got a fresh haircut going. Tight. And when he's on, he'll be a ground ball machine.
You're not kidding. I mean, he's one of the few sinker ball pitchers that you can see the ball and you can see it sink. It's almost like a breaking pitch.
There's many things to talk about Jared Hughes, but one thing that I thought was funny was he's a former Pirate, he's a former Brewer, and he said that he couldn't wait to pitch at home to be introduced by Joe Zerhusen. Because if you've been to Great American Ballpark, you've heard Joe Z. I mean, we often referred to him as the voice of God.
Yeah.
He's got those pipes. And I guess the reputation around the league is a lot of players from other teams are like, man, and there's Josie. Man, he's got a cool voice to be introduced by, and I can't wait for him to rip off Jared Hughes on the mound.
Yeah, because he really emphasizes the home players.
Yeah.
And it's very, flatline when you talk about the visitors.
In spring training, he said he couldn't wait to meet him. Not only be introduced by him, but wanted to meet him. So Hughes is one of those. He's a perceptive guy. He just sees and reacts to a lot of things. And things are extra cool to him. Like stuff like that.
One of the tricks of a sinker ball pitcher like Jared Hughes is that he's going to be downstairs, and most of the time he's going to be down and away. So the hitter starts looking in that zone, but Hughes can begin to move the ball a little bit lower and a little bit more off the plate, and you keep chasing and chasing until you hit a pitcher's pitch.
8th pitch of the at bat. Does Votto have room? He does. So Jose Martinez works it deep, but fouls out to Votto, 1 out. And here comes Molina. "35 years of age now, Yadier Molina. He'll turn 36 in July. Swing and a miss. Seventh strikeout of the night for Reds pitching. 2 outs, Paul DeYoung.
We were talking about the workhorse being Matt Bowman. You know, you have to talk about Jared Hughes in that same category, but over a much more extended period of time. He was released at the end of spring training in 2017 by the Pittsburgh Pirates. Didn't make the team. They cut him loose. He signed a deal with the Milwaukee Brewers. Had a good year with the Brewers last year. 67 games and an earned run average right around 3. And that was so good when he became a free agent at the end of the year. That's when the Reds swooped in and signed him to a 2-year deal. So that's called landing on your feet. Nice job.
Back-to-back punch outs for Jared Hughes. Reds down by 3. Gold glove ceremony to boot. All right, see if the Reds can chip away here. Top of the order coming up, Billy Hamilton. Only down by 3. And a new pitcher on the hill. It's left-hander Tyler Lyons.
'30-year-old left-hander from Lubbock, Texas. Did his college work at Oklahoma State. He's been with the Cardinals all of his major league career.
Only left in the bullpen for Mike Matheny.
You know, it used to be when Tony La Russa ran this ball club. And I say ran the ball club because even though there were general managers and other people around, it was really what Tony said went.
No question.
And he almost demanded to have at least 3 left-handers in the bullpen. And the Cardinals did. I mean, that was one of the things they really wanted to have more than anything was a balanced bullpen, quote unquote. So if you wanted to shoot a lefty out there in the 5th inning, you could do that and still have a couple left. I would imagine that the heavy dominant right-handed bullpen that the Cardinals have will change here over time. You'll see a left-hander added. Right now the Reds have basically 3 in their bullpen.
They have 3 now. Yeah, I mean, if you look on the score sheet, Cody Reed is not listed, but he has been in the bullpen. He came out of the bullpen last night, and he is down there tonight in the shots we've seen.
So you have Wandy Peralta and Amir Garrett, and now Cody Reed.
Right. And if you're just joining us, Brandon Finnegan will make the start tomorrow, his first start of the season with the big club. There's Cody Reed. And a walk by Hamilton. Good at bat. Second walk of the night for Billy.
Well, he's been on base now 3 times, Hamilton has, and this is exactly what you want out of Hamilton. Unfortunately, each of the previous 2 times he has been on base, he's been erased on a ground ball fielder's choice.
Peraza 1 for 1 in his career off of Lyons. But Lyons fields it nicely. Low throw, but they get Peraza.
Well, that was a nice job by Martinez to keep his wits about him at first base and pick that ball up. That had a chance to be a disaster for the Cardinals and a big break for the Reds. Lyons fields the ball, does a 360, and then throws it very low in the ground. And the ball and the runner get there just about at the same time, and that's a nice pick. Boy, you don't know how big that fielding play was right there.
Particularly with Votto coming to the plate. So a runner in scoring position for Joey. Joey 5 for 11 in his career off of Lyons. Shoots it the other way down the left field line. This will score Hamilton easily. And the Reds are within 2.
Well, that is the best example of why Joey Votto is an excellent hitter against left-handed pitching. I mean, he's so committed to hitting the ball the other way, and if you're going to hit off a left-hander like Lyons, he's going to give you a steady diet of curveballs. They're going to break away from you, and you've got to stay back and swat it the other way.
4th RBI of the season for Votto. And now Scooter Gennett. Swing and a miss, and he was trying to tie it up. Scooter 0 for 7 in his career versus Tyler Lyons.
Lyons traditionally has been very tough on left-handers. His career batting average against left-handers is 190. Righties hit 60 points higher.
Had him fooled.
He threw the first fastball by him, and then he drops that curveball on him. I'd imagine he's going to go right back to that well at least one more time in this at bat.
One-two pitch. Strike 3 call, and again, Angel Hernandez rings up a player on that outside corner. No argument from Scooter.
That's about as good a pitch as you can throw if you're Tyler Lyons. Molina did not have to move that glove an inch.
With a right-hander coming to the plate, that'll do it for Tyler Lyons. Dominic Leone has been warming up for the Cardinals. 7th game this season.
Yeah, Leon's been around a little bit. You may not have heard of him. He pitched a couple of years in Seattle, had a bit of time in Arizona. Last year he was with the Toronto Blue Jays, 65 games, and I believe he pitched against the Reds.
First pitch, breaking ball, in for a strike. Mesoraco 2 for 3, including that 2-run home run in the 7th.
Now, Leon looks to me as what we like to call them slider machines. I mean, it's going to be one slider after another, 89 miles an hour. Came over here in a trade for Randall Grichuk.
1-1 pitch to Mesoraco. 2-1. Look out.
Oh,
got him.
Joey.
Had him leaning. Let's get a run. 5-3 game. Second. 3 home runs hit in this game, including Dexter Fowler in the 6th off of Tyler Malley. Another solo shot, his 2nd of the season. Molina would also deliver a 2 RBI single, but Devin Mesoraco hits his first home run of 2018, a 2-run shot in the 7th. And in the 8th, Joey Votto delivers his 4th RBI of the year, scoring Billy Hamilton. And it is a 5-3 game as we head to the 9th here. Cardinals have doubled up the Reds in the hit column. A couple of errors for the Reds. And new pitcher on the hill for Brian Price. It's southpaw Wandy Peralta. And he will face Colton Wong. First pitch strike. Seventh appearance for Peralta. Opponent's hitting just .059. Swing and a miss. Busted him in on the hands. Peralta's 6 scoreless relief appearances spanning 5 2/3 innings. Given up only 1 hit. He has walked 7 batters. 6 strikeouts. In the 10th inning of Wednesday's 12-inning game, an uncharacteristic career-high 3 walks by Peralta. Grounder towards Votto. Glove flip. Nice play.
Nice little flip action right here. Peralta right on schedule. You know, the key to that play when a pitcher's covering is try to get him the ball before he gets to first base. You don't want the ball and the pitcher getting at first base at the same time. Votto does that. You know, his mind, half of it anyway, is somewhere else.
And a pinch hitter is Jairo Munoz for the Cardinals. Hit well, left field. Fair ball. Munoz on his way to second base. Throw in not in time. And a 1-out double. Right down Broadway, as they say. And Devin Mesoraco will have a chat with Peralta. Day game tomorrow here at Great American Ballpark. 12:30 for Reds Live. And a 1:10 first pitch. Lefty versus righty matchup. Brandon Finnegan will make his first start of the season. He will face Miles Michaelis. And also a Sunday afternoon tilt. 1:10 start on Sunday. Homer Bailey gets the start against Carlos Martinez to round out this 4-game set and this 4-game homestand. Here's Fowler. Working on a 2-for-4 night, including a home run and a single. And 2-for-4 in his career off of Wandy Peralta. One and one the count. Two and one. There goes the runner from second. Nope. Started to. Held up. Did Munoz. Three balls and a strike. Out of play. Tapper foul. It was last year that Peralta had a really rough spring, and we've talked about it many times. It was as if someone flipped the light switch and all of a sudden he became a dominant left-handed major league reliever. And he didn't have a good spring this year.
Well, one of the things that really rounded it out for Wandy Peralta was the addition of that slider. He'd always had a good fastball and a good changeup.
He makes the play and delivers a seed to Votto, and the runner will move on to third base.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're playing first base and Wandy Peralta picks up a bunt and he turns the fire at first base, you better be ready, because that ball he threw to first base was probably high. It may have been harder than any pitch he's thrown tonight. Watch this guy unload on this one. Oh, man.
They intentionally walked Tommy Pham. Yeah. Thus the seed description. You had better be ready. You know, Peralta's a former starter. And a lot of guys would prefer, hey, listen, I'd love to go back to starting. He's like, oh, no. I want no part of starting. No success whatsoever. I'm a reliever. I like being a reliever.
It's funny that, you know, that third pitch that he added would be ideal.
Yeah,
as a starter.
We've talked about it before. Hey, maybe try him as a starter. He loves being a reliever.
And I'm wondering maybe if some of that thought process for Wandy Peralta is that, you know, he's seen the success that Aroldis Chapman has had, who was supposed to be a starter, that Raisel Iglesias has had as a reliever. He was supposed to be a starter.
There goes the runner from first. Fake throw down. And that'll be a stolen base for Pham. Third steal of the season for Pham. Now second and third, 2 outs. Two balls and a strike to Matt Carpenter. Check swing, appeal, no, says Bill Miller. Matt Carpenter will not only work the pitch count deep, but he will take his time between pitches. Three-one pitch. And he walked him.
Now that last pitch, again, one of those marginal pitches that could go either way. Although it was kind of trailing down and out of the zone. That's why Carpenter goes to first base and the bases are loaded.
That is the first unintentional walk of the night for Reds pitching. Still work to be done here. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Marcell Ozuna, who earlier in this game extended his hitting streak to 12 games. Peralta had 0-2.
Well, that's the way to do it when you've got bases loaded. I mean, the last thing you want to do is get the hitter the advantage by getting behind on the count. Peralta throws back-to-back off-speed pitches and clearly in command of this at bat.
Peralta trying to keep the deficit at 2. Shakes off Mesoraco. Now has what he wants. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Peralta strands 3. All right, Reds down by 2. Mesoraco, Duvall, Irvin due up. On car insurance. And by Toyota, for over 30 offers, visit viatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. As promised, it's time for the Miller Lite Hold True moment, and a moment that Alex Blandino will remember for all times. His first big league hit came back in the 7th. And a souvenir to boot. Put that one on the mantle. Congratulations, Alex Blandino. 5-3 game, bottom of the 9th. Bud Norris on the hill. Devin Mesoraco in the box.
Now, Bud Norris was a longtime starter for a couple of different teams, but it was the Angels last year. He started out with the Houston Astros, then Baltimore, starting pitcher most every year until last year with the Angels. They converted him to a full-time reliever, and by the end of the year, he was their closer. The Cardinals have kind of a muddled situation when it comes to their closer. Greg Holland is on board, presumably to be given the 9th inning to close games. But Norris, Dominic Leone is in that mix. He pitched last inning.
Well, Holland was signed what on opening day? He was one of those free agents that just remained unsigned for a long time in a weird offseason for Major League Baseball. And his first appearance, it was obvious he showed signs of rust. One-two pitch to Mesoraco. 2-2.
Well, Mesoraco may have been the most disappointed person in this ballpark when Votto ended last inning by being picked off first base. He was at the plate with the tying run.
Now just trying to get on base to bring the tying run to the plate, and he's a pitch away from doing that. Payoff pitch. Swing and a miss.
Has a lot of confidence in his breaking stuff, does Bud Norris. He goes 3-2, spins up a slider, and gets a strikeout.
One out now, Adam Duvall. Here comes the 0-1. Shot the other way and a bloop single. And indeed, the tying run will come to the plate. As we mentioned, day game tomorrow. 12:30 for Reds Live. And it's brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. We'll set the table for you tomorrow, as we always do, here on your home for Reds Baseball, Fox Sports Ohio. Brandon Finnegan set to make his 2018 big league debut tomorrow. Tying run at the plate in the form of Phillip Ervin. Ervin getting a late start tonight. Jesse Winker, originally in the starting lineup, scratched with right shoulder soreness. Swing and a miss. Two and one. Up and in, 3-1. Norris sets and delivers the 3-1. Ball four. And a tying run on first base. Alex Blandino. Last time up, his first major league hit.
All right, so here's what you're thinking if you're Brian Price. I'm 2 runs down. I have 2 runners on. I already have an out, so I'm probably not going to bunt Blandino right here. I've got one fast guy at first base in Phillip Ervin. And I need a pinch hitter coming up next, and that'll be Tucker Barnhart, who's worked himself into the on-deck circle. So Alex Blandino had the biggest hit of his life his last time up, maybe in the biggest at-bat of his life coming up right now.
First pitch to Blandino, in for a strike. Up and in.
You know, Norris had one breakout season as a starter. He won 15 games a few years ago for the Baltimore Orioles. But I always thought the one thing that was really holding him back was good control. Always walked too many batters for a guy that didn't strike out a ton. Maybe make a mistake here. That's a good slider.
Blandino in the hole at 1-2. Two and two. Pitch coming up. Swing and a miss. Reds down to their final out. Just some gas, threw it right by him. And now assistant manager Yadier Molina, if you will come out and talk to his pitcher Bud Norris. Hopes are in Tucker Barnhart's hand. Will come off the bench to pinch hit. First and second, 2 outs. Reds down by 2. Righty versus lefty matchup. With the game on the line. Barnhart 4 for 10 in inning 7 and later. Time call.
Take your time and hurry it up.
Count evens at 1-1.
Well, it's a small sample size this year for Bud Norris, but left-handers have had some pretty good success against him. 375 batting average, 3 for 8 coming into this game. Right-handers not so much at all. Lefties kind of neutralized the slider.
Climb the ladder did Norris, and Barnhart win a chasing. block by Molina saved both runners being in scoring position.
And another decision pitch here for Bud Norris.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on, 2-run game. Barnhart stays alive. Barnhart settles back in. Norris stare him down. Strike 3 called on the upper part of the strike zone. Angel Hernandez rings up Tucker Barnhart, and you be the judge. Number 6. Right on the edge, according to Fox Tracks.
That's too high. That's too high for a call to end the ball game.
So the Cardinals hang on and win it 5-3. Reds Live, the post-game edition, is right around the corner here in your home for Reds baseball, Fox Sports Ohio.